evening, viewers, and welcome to the 7th episode of our 10-in-1 video series entitled 100 Commonly Misused Words Used in WAEC, NECO and JAMB Lessons and Structure. In this 7th episode, we shall be considering words number 61 to 70. And for easy access, we shall be splitting this particular episode into two different parts. That is, we shall be considering part 7a, which will take care of words number 61 to number 65, and then we shall be discussing, part 7b, which will take care of words number 66 to number 70. Let's take a step further by considering our next items, which include bear, bear. Our next set of words include bear, bear. Good. Now, what's the meaning of the first word here? Bear. Bear is a movable frame on which a corpse is placed before burial. It's a frame or a kind of tabular structure that they normally place a corpse, before it is lowered into the grave. So that's the meaning of bear. Now, what's the meaning of bear? Bear is a very sensitive word in English because it has so many meanings, It has some literal meanings, and there's some literary meaning, and some formal usage and informal expressions and all. But for the purpose of this discussion, we shall be considering about three meanings of what bear. The first one is that bear means to give birth to a child, to give birth to a child. Then another meaning of bear, B-E-A-R, that we're going to be discussing here, is to endure difficulties, That is, when there is a problem or a pain and you are able, to carry through it, then you use the word bear. Then the third meaning of bear that we're going to be looking at here is that bear means a large mammal that usually walks on its soul, Now, these are the meanings of what bears that we shall be considering in this video. So the next one that we have again is bear. Bear is a part of the body that is not clothed or that's not covered. You can talk about bare feet and you can talk about bare hands. Although bare hands is a little bit figurative, it has a lot of figurative implications around it. So that's that about that. Now, what is the part of speech to which these words belong? Bear, because it's a substance, that's a tabular framework, it is a noun, But this word bear is a verb and also can be used as a noun. When used as a verb, we talk about to bear difficulties or to give birth to a child. But when used as a noun, it means a mammal, that can walk on the sole of his feet. So that is how this word, can be used both as a noun and as a verb. What about bear, which is a part of the body that's not clothed? This one is what? An adjective. Good. Now let's look at some expressions, where these words can be used. The first one is the body was placed in Bier before burial. That is, the body was placed on a tabular frame, before it was lowered into the grave. Then the next one is bear, which can be used as a noun and as a verb. The first example we have here is the pain was more than she could bear. So that one has to do with enduring difficulties. And then the second example we have here is she just wants to bear a child, So these two expressions that we have used now talk about the word in the form of a verb, Bear as a verb to endure difficulties or to give birth to a child. But we are going to be using the third meaning of bear in our next example combined with bear. What is the meaning of bear? Like we said, a part of the body that is not clothed or covered, Yes. Now, an expression that we, involve these two words could be something like, I killed a deer with my bare hand. This means I killed an animal called Bier, that is noun form of the word, with my bare hand, okay, adjectival form of this word. And of course, the word is just an adjective. And you can easily understand that it's an adjective because it is being used to stand before a noun. And any word that is standing before a noun is an adjective, okay? In other words, an attributive what? Adjective. So that's how to use these words in expressions. Let's now take a step further by looking at their appearance, okay, in past questions. JAMB 1990. The pastor said, lay dash your hearts to God. A, Bier, B, Bier, C, Bier, D, Bar. These are just the three words that we have discussed. Alright? Now, the correct answer to this question is option what? C, which is Bier. Now, you have to be very careful. Like we said, Bier is a frame on which a corpse can be laid before burial. And Bier means to what? Endure pain or to give birth to a child. So these two words cannot fit into this context. But lay bare your heart. We say bare means to what? Make something uncovered. So in other words, the pastor was a little bit figurative here and asking the people to open their hearts to God. So the correct answer is option C. Now, let's move forward to the next item on our list, which is in spite of dash despite. Now, our last set of words in the first part of this 7th episode include in spite of / despite. Okay, they are relatively simple. Okay, because the two expressions, right, in spite of / despite mean the same thing. They are ways of concession. Okay, they are used to say things like regardless of or notwithstanding. You will usually have two clauses, okay, in an expression where in spite of or despite, okay, is used. All right, and it is used in such a way that either the main clause is being undermined for the subordinate clause, or the subordinate clause is being undermined for what? For the main clause. And that is what we mean by concession terms. Alright? So in spite of and despite mean the same thing. But there's something very important about these words that we must take a very good note of. And that is the fact that in spite of must be written as what? 3 words. Alright? In spite of must be written as what? 3 words. In and spite and of, they are all separated. Okay, so it's a kind of phraseological expression. Whereas despite must be written as what? 1 word. So the idea of expecting to have despite of no is not allowed, okay, in usage. Alright, so you can have in spite of, and in spite should not be joined. They should be separated, and despite of does not exist. So if you understand that, then you are good to go with these words. Now, let's look at the use of these words in expressions. Let's look at the use of these words in expressions, alright? The first one reads thus: she went out in spite of the rain. Alright, 2 things are happening in these expressions. There is someone going out and then there is the rain. Now, one of the things happening in this expression has been undermined for the other. So in a case like this, you talk about concession language. So in spite of is actually a concession language. All right. The second one says, Mary is traveling through Europe by train in spite of the cost. Now there is someone traveling, okay, through Europe, and then there is the area or the aspect of the cost. Now, the cost is being undermined, all right? So, if the 2 things happen in an expression are such that one is undermined for the other, then you can use any of these prepositions. So, you must understand as well that in spite of and despite are what? Both prepositions, all right? Now, like we said, in spite of and despite mean the same thing. But the only thing is that if you are going to refute in spite of for despite, then you should remember, okay, that despite does not attract of and with that you are good to go. So in the second set of the examples that we have here, we try to refute in spite of by introducing despite. And now let's see what we are going to get. She went out despite the rain, correct? Remember, the first one reads as she went out in spite of the rain. So now this one goes as she went out despite the rain, correct? But you're going to be making a mistake if you decide to introduce of in this expression by saying she went out despite of the rain. No, despite does not require of. So of is not needed in this expression. Then the second one is also a rewording, okay, of the second example that we have there. Now Mary is traveling through Europe by train in spite of the cost. So when we remove in spite of, we're now going to have Mary is traveling through Europe by train despite the cost. So that is how to use these words in expressions. Let's now take a step further by considering their appearance in past questions. WAEC 2009. The lady enjoyed the dance, dash the fact that she had a fever. A, knowing. B, in spite. C, even. D, despite. The correct answer to this question is D, despite. Alright? We cannot consider in spite because there is no preposition of here. Alright? Remember we said that anytime in spite is used, it attracts of. But despite does not attract anything. So despite is the right option for this expression. Therefore, option D is the correct answer.